Hey y'all, it's Miss Williams. I know it's been a couple of days since I posted. Um, but I just been kind of like working a lot and dealing with my girls, doing hair, boo. But I'm here and I really just wanted to talk about, you know, dealing with these bad relationships and dealing with vulnerability. Okay. So, and I'm no expert on it. However, I can say that I definitely know a lot about it. Just a little bit, if you will. So I will say that a lot of these bad relationships have came out of me and my vulnerability in with the breakup of a previous relationship. And then here comes a guy and he's like, oh, you're so pretty, or oh, Shartay, you're so great. They're spilling on their little line. And so me being all vulnerable and wanting that quote unquote attention, I go for it, right? Okay, yeah. So, I will say that I began to notice this when I was, I would say, probably in between old dude and Siren Slaughter. So remember, I was giving these men names, not their names, but names, right? So I began to notice this level of vulnerability that I was having with these individuals, just because I was just seeing the pattern. I think I spoke about it in one of my earlier videos about the pattern of when I would break up with one man, then here would come another one, literally like 6 weeks or 2 months later. So congratulations to me. Yay! Miss Williams been single now for a good little minute. Okay. And I'm happy about it. All right. But I noticed that. So then I noticed this vulnerability to where, where I think I talked about how, well, one guy, the guy that I was dating previous, maybe, he maybe, took me out to eat, but you didn't like, he wouldn't, interact with my children, so that was one thing that I would experience. I would experience that, or better yet, I would experience him. Sorry guys, I'm messing with this because I'm sitting in my car and it's like really, really, really hot. So I would experience that with, and so then the next guy I would date, oh, he'll deal with my kids, but then like, so for instance, with the old guy in Siren Slaughter, the old guy was with him for on and on for 4 years. Never once did you offer to pick up my kids, drop off my kids, cook dinner, bring dinner, watch my kids, or anything like that. And so when I met Siren Slaughter, I remember he had asked me, well, you're beautiful, why aren't you with someone? And I was like, because I'm not, like, I don't want to deal with drama. And, men don't seem to understand that if you're dating me, then you're dating kids. And at that time, my girls were 11 and 6, or no, yeah, 11 and 6. So I told him, I was like, if you're dating me, then you also are with my 11 and my 6-year-old, And so he was all down for my kids, so to speak. So that was an attribute that I took from him, but then realized, you have a problem with really cherishing a woman in your life. You have a problem with talking to women with respect, So again, like I said, it was just that vulnerability that I would deal with in each of these relationships that I've been in. And so, and again, I definitely want to tell y'all, I am not saying, I'm putting out this disclaimer again. I am not saying these men are horrible men. I'm just saying they weren't good for me. That's it. They weren't good for me. Okay. And they weren't good to me. And so I think, even taking ownership of some of this again, cause I'm not alone, or they're not alone in how things went. But taking ownership in this, I have to look at myself and say, Shartae, you were dealing with these men after coming up out of certain relationships and certain situations or situationships, So, I definitely have to take, responsibility in that and say, even the way the relationship went, it could have contributed to, was because of maybe my vulnerability. And in my vulnerability, I did not really look at everything and take that time to do that self-reflecting, because the self-reflecting then would allow me to then sit back and to see that, yeah, this dude ain't really piling up to much of anything. He's okay. So yeah, he's good with your kids, but man, sit back and see, if I sat back and talked to him more and asked more questions, which, I felt like I asked a pretty good, decent amount of questions, but apparently I wasn't asking all the right questions that where I would have been able to see, like, yeah, no, this man really has a problem with respecting women. And, and all of them were like that. So like, with my oldest daughter, her father, he was like 16 years older than me. Yeah, I was, and he was actually the first person I had ever been with, intimately. And yeah, then I got pregnant. But the vulnerability in that was like, I really wanted to be married, right? So I'm thinking, oh, he's older. And I've always felt like that. Older men were, were more mature. Older men were ready, knew what they wanted to do. I felt that way for a long time. And let me tell you something, y'all. Here just recently, I realized, no. Older men are not mature. That doesn't, just because I'll say it like this. Just because men are older does not mean that they are mature. All it means is that sometimes they have been in the game a whole lot longer and they know how to play it way better. That's what that means. See? So, my daughter's father is 16 years older than me, so I wanted to be married. And I thought, like he was making it sound like he wanted to be married too. So I was like, okay, And I remember my mom was like, Shartae, what are you doing with him? I was like, oh, Mom, he's just something to do. I remember saying that. And then my dad, God bless his pea-picking heart. I remember I was talking to him about this guy. I was like, he thinks I'm cute and he thinks. My dad said, you ain't that fine, Shartae. You're not that cute. You're not that cute. So it's something else. And when you're young and dumb, because I'll say that. I was like 20. So you're very young and dumb. You don't have it all together. Okay. And so, I just thought, I knew it, right? Yeah. This dude was a player from the Himalayas. And to be quite honest, he wasn't even a player, but I was 20. So what did I know? If he had tried that game now, man, I'd blow him out the water. Okay? As a matter of fact, let me tell you something, y'all. So when I graduated from college in 2006, by then my daughter was, she was 9. Yeah, she was 9. Mind you, he hasn't been in her life this whole entire time she's been on this earth. So it's okay. But when I graduated from college, and somehow or another, I forget how I ended up seeing him or reconnecting with him or whatever. And so he called me and he was like, Shartae, so I want to ask you, if they was to put me on a platter with $1 million, would you take me? And I said, oh, let me tell you something, homeboy. That's what I'll call him, homeboy. Okay. Let me tell you something, homeboy. I would take the platter I would take the $1 million and put you back on the platter and send you back And I told him, look, understand this. See, I was young and dumb when I dealt with you. That's not the case in Timor, okay? I said, so I'm not going for what what I dealt with and what I went for then. And I remember, I was just vulnerable when I was dealing with him because I really wanted to be married. I really wanted to be, have a family. That was what I wanted when I was in high school. I was like, I want to be married. I wanted to have 6 kids, 3 boys, 3 girls. And I just wanted to be married. I wanted me and my husband to have the great relationship and our house to be the fun house as far as, couples and, kids and just all that. That's what I really, really wanted. And so I remember my daughter's aunt, which just so happens to be my daughter's father's sister. She was getting married, and I remember I kept saying, oh, I want to be married. I want to be married. And so, he was selling the picture like, oh, that's what page he was on. And I just knew I wanted to be married to him and thought he was the best. And then, yeah, he showed me I'm not the best at all, And it was okay, I didn't know enough. And the funny thing is, like, people were like his family, like his brother and even his sister, who me and her were best friends back in the day. She was even trying to tell me, just trying to get me to see things in a different way. And I couldn't see it, y'all. I couldn't see it. First of all, I would say, number one, I didn't even have the ear. The Bible says, he that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit is saying to this church, right? Yeah. And I'm not talking about these ears, okay? I'm talking about the ears where you receive it in your heart and you understand it, right? So let me tell you, I wasn't hearing it with these ears and I wasn't hearing with this heart either, okay? And then I'm like defending it, like, in my head thinking, y'all don't know. Oh yeah, I was 20. Y'all don't know, right? And then I was like thinking, okay, well, this older guy likes me, man. I was like, wow, I must be really cute, because back then I had a gap in my mouth, because I used to suck my thumb when I was a kid. So I had a gap. I was the only one of my brothers and sisters that had the gap. Okay, the only one. So, and he thought I was cute, and I was like, okay, so I was trying my best to be, they just thought that it was going to happen, that vulnerability, right? And then it didn't. And then I'm pregnant, right? Actually, I'm pregnant and it didn't happen that we got married, because I'm thinking once I got married, I would get pregnant. Now, I didn't even know this guy had as many kids as he had. I think I knew of a few, but I didn't know he had like 6, okay? I didn't know that. I didn't know certain things about him. I didn't know he had a record. A record. I was like, ooh, Lord. As a matter of fact, I just told my daughter here probably about 2 months ago about his little record, I was telling her, I said, oh, I was really, I was like, nay, your mama was stupid in dealing with this dude, but it's that vulnerability where you're vulnerable, and so you'll hear what somebody has to say. Either if you're the man, you'll hear what a woman has to say, and she's telling you lies, so but you're so vulnerable, you're believing that you're looking at it as the truth. And us as women a guy will be telling us lies, but we're so vulnerable that we'll be walking right into the lies like a fly flying to a spider web, right into the trap, okay? I'm just saying that. That's just my life. Y'all may be different, okay? Y'all may have arrived. Unfortunately, I have not, so that's why we're talking about this now. So, so I went for it. And then even, I'm pregnant with this dude's kid. I'm doing all kind of dumb. I remember one day he had stayed with me. I got a hotel, and he stayed with me at the hotel. I worked at the hotel, so I got a discount. So he stayed, and he was like, okay, I'll be back, and da-da-da. I was supposed to go to Portland with a friend. Well, she was a friend then. She ain't a friend now. But I was supposed to go. And I promise you, I waited all day. I had this girl waiting too. And then we finally went. And then I go down to Portland, and do you know this mother sucker was down there in Portland? I mean, just face broke, hurt, crying, all that. Okay, all that. And so, and yet vulnerability, where I was still, holding out hope, especially since I was pregnant too, and it was my first person I had been with. I was holding out hope, and so then, I had the kid, and then he was still going to. Sorry, y'all, but this hair is just kind of like sticking out, so I had to fix it. But I had my daughter, right? And he was making it seem like he was going to, no, I take that back. What happened was, this dude, he's so raggedy. Homeboy was so raggedy that I remember at 8 months, almost 9, I literally was about to fight this dude. Like, I remember I was in some heels. I was outside the church in my dress, stockings, and I had on these shoes. And y'all, let me tell you about these shoes. They were so cute, but let me tell you, I put them puppies on, and they were a half a size too small for my feet. So, and it was cold outside. And let me tell you something. When it's cold outside and then you got your feet or whatever scrunched up in some shoes and your feet are hurt, that junk hurts even more, right? And then here I go call myself trying to fight this dude. And actually I had a little basketball belly. But I'm sitting up here trying to fight him because what I found out was this little girl, she was a little thought pocket. And she was always about people paying her pockets. Now, mind you, I grew up with her back in the day and everything like that. And so what I found out is that homeboy was trying to talk to her. And so I had seen her, and she was stuck up when I was little. She was a very stuck up type of person. And I think from what I understand, she kind of still is. And it's okay, whatever. But like my grandmother would say, people got to come into themselves. They got to come into themselves. So she probably still coming into herself. I don't know. Anyways, I heard that he was trying to talk to her, and this dude is like shelling out money to her. I'm thinking, really, dude, what money are you shelling out to this girl when you ain't even helping me with absolutely nothing? And so I was like, what? And and again, let's talk about the vulnerability, right? So I'm pregnant. I got this dude's kid in my belly, and I'm liking him. I'm so in love with him. I just think he's just all that, right? And then I hear he's talking to this girl, and so I said something to her about it, and she didn't care, and nor should she, right? Nor should she. See, that was my one mistake that I did. Now, I said in a video, the last video, that one of my videos, I said, you never go after the woman, or if it's the man, you never go after the man. You always go after the one that you're obligated to. So if you're obligated to a relationship with the woman, then you go to the woman. If you're obligated to a man, if the man is obligated to you, then you go to the man. Don't go to the opposite person who's helping that person create the offense, right? But I made that mistake, young and dumb. And so I said something to her, and she was like, I didn't care. Okay, girl. Of course, I'm hot under the collar, right? Right. So then I seen him, and I was like, you know what, homeboy, you blah, blah. And I'm going off, and you're just so raggedy, and you're this, how dare you do this? And I'm outside the church. I'm like pushing dude, and folks is trying to hold me back, right? Because I'm pregnant. But I didn't even care because he could get all of it. I didn't care, right? And so then, so that was that. And then I ended up having my daughter, and he was all, oh, I'm gonna go see her, because he had told one of my friends that he was gonna go, and so they was gonna come with him. Never did that raggedy Negro come up to see his daughter at all. As a matter of fact, I think my daughter was probably about 3 months before he came up to see her, and then he didn't see her again till she was 2, and then it just tapered off. But so, again, the vulnerability. And even then, when he came and seen, my daughter, I was all holding out, oh, we can be together, all that, right? So I remember she was probably about 3.5, 4 months. Vulnerability, y'all. Just talk about it, how it can get you into some trouble. So I remember me and my cousin, we was having a family reunion down in Portland. So my cousin was, she was in my car. She had her daughter. And then and her daughter was like 3 or 4. So her daughter was older. And, my daughter was only like 3-4 months. And so just vulnerability. And I can admit this now. I was so dumb. I slept with this dude, right? I hadn't been with him. And then I slept with him. And when I was down there. And woo, y'all. Let me tell you. Eyes haven't seen nor ears have not heard. Because when I heard that he was supposed to be getting married the next day, y'all, I lost it. Okay? Lost it. Lost it. Saints, let me tell you. Okay? Saints, brothers, sisters, fellow people. I lost it. So I was calling his phone. Dude didn't want to answer the phone. Okay. That's a telltale sign. Okay. When somebody don't want to answer the phone when you calling them and you supposed to be quote unquote they boo. That's a telltale sign, right? So he went to answer the phone, and I had one of them little old cell phones, like, the block ones. Not the big block ones, but a little small block one. When, you couldn't send no pictures. It was the analog type of phones. You know what I mean? It was old school. Anyways, so I heard about it, and I told my cousin I was all hurt, right? I'm all hurt. And my cousin was like, I said, she was riding with me when we was down there. And so, y'all, I knew where he stayed. So, just talking about vulnerability. I'm just gonna say vulnerability. So, I may or may not did something. It just depends on how it's gonna hold up in a court of law. Just saying. Well, I'm good now. I can talk about it because that was like 23 years ago. So I can talk about it now. So what I did is I kicked the crap out that car. Okay? I surely did. I was banging on the door. He didn't want to come out. Okay, I got you. And I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know what else to do. Nothing was coming to mind of what to do. So I didn't even know what else to do. Y'all, let me tell you how your girl got her keys. And let me tell you, I had that key for a long time. Just served as a remembrance. You know what I mean? Like the Bible talks about how God holds our tears in a bottle as a monument for our remembrance, as a remembrance of what we've been through, right? And so, I keyed that car. I walked around that car. I just walked around. I wasn't rushing nothing. I just... keying the heck out that car, okay? And the dog was barking. I'm just keying the car, right? So I'm keying the car, and all of a sudden, homeboy comes out and he says, "Shartae, what are you doing?" And I turned around and I said, with the key, right? Got my last little dig in that car. That one, I know I actually put a nice little dent in that car, I'm sure, okay? And so, I said, what does it look like? Y'all, I started running from him. Now, this is what's so funny about this whole situation I remember. So, I had my daughter, and I was 20, right? And before I had her, I was only weighing like 110, 12, maybe 13 pounds, right? And then while I was pregnant with her, my doctor was begging me to eat because I just wasn't gaining any weight. And then after I had her, I went right on back down to my little 113 pounds, if not less than that. My little cute little body. You know what I'm saying? And so I remember I wore dresses back then. And I had on this dress. And I remember, for some reason, I don't know why it's sticking in my head, but I had on these panties that was just kind of like too big. Like panties, not thongs, not, no boy shorts, none of that. No, I had on panties. But they were kind of like big. It seemed like they was like big for some reason. And I remember when he was like, "Shartae, what are you doing?" I was like, "Arr." Y'all, I started running for this dude. And I remember I was running. holding up my panties, y'all. I was trying to hold up my panties while I was running for this dude. And I was with all my might, y'all. I was like going up in there, gangbusters. I'm like pushing that door. And I don't know how. I mean, he wasn't no bigger than a minute. He still ain't, I don't think. But of course I wasn't. But y'all, I was trying to push that door open. I mean, that dude was fighting with all his might to get that door closed. And I mean, I was like reaching up in there trying to get, he was fighting hard to get that door closed. And then finally he did. And I think I went in the car or whatever, but I was all hurt, right? Crushed and everything, because that vulnerability, it got me. And so I remember just being really devastated and really hurt. And I remember thinking, I'm never going to get over this. I remember I was driving back from Portland, and I'm just crying. I remember I came back home, and my grandmother was all, I came in and I told her what happened and everything. And I was just crying. I was just so brokenhearted. And I just thought I was never going to recover from this whole situation whatsoever. And so then I remember, I just remember, and the song that came out then at that time was Kirk Franklin's Stomp with God's Property. And the song, He'll take the pain away. He'll take the pain away, I know. He'll take the pain away. And I remember I would just listen to that song every day when I feel it coming up in my spirit, and I feel like I would be crying and be hurt. I remember just listening to that song and praying and asking God to take that pain away. And he did, because he a broken and contrite heart he will in no ways despise. Now it took time, but he did. And so definitely grateful for that. But it's just those vulnerabilities you'll find yourself in, and they can lead you down a path that's just not always, it's not going to be the best. So, I would admonish people, and even now, and I'm saying this now. So I was 20 then. Okay. So much time has passed, and I've still found myself in those vulnerable situations. So clearly, and I can admit this. And one thing I am definitely is a transparent type of person, very real with myself about a lot of things. So clearly for me, I did not learn, right? I didn't, because I told y'all, I got 3 kids, 3 beautiful girls by 3 different men, and I've been married before. So yeah, I clearly have not learned. And I'm talking to you about healing from bad relationships, and I've had a few. So clearly I haven't learned about those vulnerabilities. However, I can recognize it enough that I can talk about it. And now I know, right? Now I know. And so I'm taking my detox. I definitely, and it's definitely a needed detox, because like I said, if you have 10 bad, and I'm just throwing the number out there, it ain't really what I have, but if you've had 10 bad relationships, then you've had 10, that's your experience of what, that's your scope, that's your view of what men are to you, or women. If you, had 10 bad relationships with women, then that's your scope. And so then it's like, man, I need to change my scope. Just the other day, I went to the eye doctor, right? Yeah, even with the Rona going around. Yeah, I went to the eye doctor, and I was like, look here, don't cough on me, don't sneeze on me, don't cause a situation, because it may not be a good situation for you. I'm just saying. I got kids, I can't be having all that. So anyways, I went to the eye doctor. And so my vision, he had me take out my contacts, right? And so I took them out. Y'all, do you know that in one of my eyes is, with no glasses, no contacts, is more blurry in one of my eyes than the other? What? Right? So that's my scope is just different than when I put them eyes in. then I can see things. So, I mean, I can see clearly now the rain is gone, right? So I was able to see things a little bit clearer. So, I say all that to say that when you have a scope of a situation and you've been in it, in the dogma of it, bad relationships, you kind of need to take a step back and reevaluate and look at you and get a whole different scope, a whole different perspective, some different eyes to see things a little bit better. And so, I love this detoxing that I'm doing. I'm in my recovery. Hi. My name is Shartae, and I suffer from bad relationships. Hi, Shartae. I'm just saying. So that's me. If you want to join my club, you are more than welcome to. It's called the Bad Relationships Club, and we are in recovery. Okay. So I say all that to say, vulnerability can lead you in a bad place. Now, when you're in a good relationship, the Lord loves when we're vulnerable to him, because then he is able to do and show himself mighty in our life. That's who you should be vulnerable to. Or if you're getting married and you're in a great relationship with somebody and you're married, that's when you should show your vulnerability to that person, because at that point you have made a covenant with each other to build your lives together. So that's when you should show vulnerability to these people that ain't really worth giving that vulnerability to. And I promise you, they have shown you that they're not worth it, but yeah, we'll do it anyway. Yeah, redirect that, put a hold on it, just and stop it, and even when you're coming out of a relationship, give yourself some time. I told you about the dude, Latrice Nola. So, how he had the girl emailing me, and then he gonna get on there and get to emailing me and calling me all out my name. I'm a bag of bees and some more stuff. He's talking about I brought the nigga out of him. No, and let's reassure you of something. He was already a nigga. I didn't bring out nothing. That's just what you were. So anyways, but that's what his words, not mine. So nevertheless, and take care of your effing kids and all that bullshism he was saying. Y'all. Let me just say that this woman that he was with, it's been about 2 months since he and I, and you're already moving on to the next, and that's his business. I ain't even mad at him. Do whatever's going to make you work, float your boat, whatever. I'm just saying, if you want to be in something healthy and you don't want to keep getting the same results, and I'm preaching to myself, and I ain't saying I arrived because I'm on this video, so I haven't arrived. But, recognize those vulnerabilities, begin to set those boundaries that I talk about, realize what these insecurities are within you. And please understand, you don't never get to a place where you don't have an insecurity. You never arrive to that point. What you do, though, is you begin to work within that insecurity. Like the Bible talks about how, his strength is made perfect in our weakness. So in that insecurity, make that insecurity work for your benefit, and not in a negative way where you're so insecure and you're like, why are you leaving me? Why? Oh my. No. Make that insecurity work for you where you're like, I think, yeah, I may have this issue, but let me go ahead and check and see and make sure, do something to make that work for you, because then you'll find yourself being vulnerable and you'll do something that, or being something that may not be for you. So I hope you guys are staying safe. Make sure you're keeping yourself safe so that Corona don't get you. All right. These people sneeze and coughing, man, call them out. I'm just saying, people may not like what I'm saying, but it's okay. Call them out about this coughing and you ain't covering your mouth. Call them out about this sneezing and you ain't covering your mouth, okay? Call them out. Call them out when they ain't doing that 6 feet social distancing, because this is real. So I hope you guys are being safe. I hope you subscribe. I hope you share. I hope you like. Love to hear your feedback as well. And until the next video, love you guys. Bye.